you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you
Good.
so much for coming on. So everybody, this is April Johnson. She is our functional nutritionist. And I want April to just kind of tell us about how you got into the wellness gig. What brought you into this journey? Because there's so many stories everyone's brought into it from a different waypoint.
Yes. My own personal journey. And I'm sure a lot of women can identify with what I'm about to share. Growing up as a child, I lived off of the standard American diet, but, I was able to eat anything and not, gain any weight until I got to an age where I had my first child. I gained a lot of weight with my first child. I actually gained 60 pounds with her. And I was a little naive at the time, thinking that I was just going to lose that weight after I had my child. And it didn't happen. And what started was a very unhealthy relationship with food. I became a yo-yo dieter, probably for 8 or 9 years, honestly. I would lose the weight, gain the weight, lose the weight, gain the weight. I know there's a lot of women who identify with this. Very frustrating for me. And like I said, it was very unhealthy. And then, one day out of the blue, I don't even remember what started it, but me and my husband, I guess, got a little curious about our food industry. And we watched Food Inc. I don't know if you've seen that one, Kara. I know a lot of people have. Yes. It's actually the one that I recommend to anybody who wants to start their journey when it comes to the food industry. But after learning about the way animals were raised and the way our crops are, GMO and sprayed and all of the processed food, like I realized like a light bulb went off, like, oh my gosh, I was like, not taking care of myself. I wasn't eating right. And, at the time, even like I was having symptoms, like I didn't realize it then, but I was having leaky gut, inflammation, thyroid issues, hormonal issues. I just didn't know it at the time. I just thought it was all kind of normal things. And when we learned about the food and we started making those changes in our kitchen, when we realized we did a pantry cleanse and 90% of our food was not edible, that's like, holy crap, you know what I mean? And I had to learn how to make food. I mean, I had to learn how to make meals. Like I was not a cook. You had to come from a box for me. That's how it was. But like after learning that, we just started making changes. We started shopping locally and we started a garden and we started canning and preserving. And as we were making all of these changes to the food and I was eating healthy, nutritious food in my body, I lost weight. My health issues improved, like all of them. And I was like, you know what, there is something really, I'm onto something here with this. And the more that I dived into health and wellness, the more I realized that there are a lot of people who were just like me, who just didn't know what I know now, that are struggling with their health and they really, really, really need help. And yeah, and so that my journey from the health and wellness from that, it was about, 6 or 7 years. And then I stumbled into health coaching and that was like, that is what I want to do. And I made that decision and now I am a health coach because of that.
I sighed like really big when you were like, if you only knew what I knew now. I feel like that all the time as a holistic practitioner, we feel like that. And it's like one of those things like, yeah, everything, if you're eating everything that's not real food and you don't know how to do anything different, it becomes normal. It's almost like normal to be in pain. It's normal to be overweight. It's normal to have energy issues, to have sleep issues. It becomes normal. And that's just the way life is. It doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be. And yeah, exactly. I thought that was just normal stuff.
Or it's in my genes, or I got it because my mom or my dad.
Yes.
No, that's such a lie. Like
there's some of
it genetic, but not most of it can be altered.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
I love to watch a health coach or any health practitioner that has really walked the talk, because that's why you feel even more passionate about it, because it has worked for you. Mm-hmm. And it's not just some product that you jumped on board on something like, oh yeah, this fixed me. Like it's not like that, especially with what you're going to talk about, which is my next question. All these pieces of the puzzle, because not one size fits all, one food or one exercise routine or whatever. So tell us about what exactly is functional medicine.
I'd love to talk about this. And I do get asked this question a lot because a lot of people don't know what it is. So I like to explain it like this: our conventional healthcare versus functional medicine, and just put them kind of side by side. For example, a woman who is dealing with thyroid issues, she'll go to her conventional doctor and she'll get lab work done. And they're like, oh, you have, looks like you have what could be hypothyroidism. So they give her a diagnosis for her symptoms, and then they refer her to a specialist like an endocrinologist. And most likely what that endocrinologist is going to do is going to, give him some medication and maybe tweak some other things. When it comes to functional medicine, when someone would come to me, say they have a thyroid issue, it's going to be so much more than just doing that medication. Of course, the medication is important for someone who is dealing with severe hypothyroidism, give them instant, relief from their symptoms. But it's really about diving into the root cause of why the thyroid is not working properly. That's the piece that's missing. It's the why. And a lot of what it could be gut-related, food-related, inflammation, stress, nutrient deficiencies. Does this woman have joy in her life? These are all the things that functional medicine looks at. So instead of breaking a person up into pieces and then treating that symptom, we're looking at the whole body because everything is interconnected. And so that is the difference between our conventional medicine versus functional medicine. So like I said, it's really identifying the root cause for that person, and it's never going to be the same for everybody. Healthcare is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It shouldn't be looked at like that either. It's very individualized. And that's another thing about functional medicine that I absolutely love is that, it's not the same. How you work with people is not the same. What works for this person may not work for this person here. So yes, it's very individualized. Can't hear you.
Thank you. Another thing that you have to do then as a practitioner is if you're looking up all those pieces and seeing how they fit together is you really have to show up for your clients, for your patients.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I think is so amazing about what you do is that you are fully present. You are really, you can't, when I'm a client sitting with you, I can't deny like this person cares about me. I'm not just a number like to get through and get done or just give the blood work and go away. Like yep. You're actually going to help me solve the problem. And I think for me, that's such a healing journey because for many years of my life, I went through trying to figure out what the answers were. And I felt like I had to figure it out myself because a lot of times I just got brushed aside or treated like a number. And so that part of feeling heard and having a practitioner really spend time with you when I first met my health coach was a game changer for me. So I just want to thank you for that's what you do and just let everyone else that recognize if you've experienced that, if you haven't got answers, this healing thing can happen when you finally sit down with a functional coach like you. So awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to ask the difference between health coaching and functional medicine. So what is the difference between the two?
Well, it's not necessarily a difference. It's health coaching, but using functional medicine into it. So just health coaching would be for someone who maybe just wants to make some very small food changes, like go gluten-free and they need a little support, meal planning. Maybe they want to do some type of exercise. But they need like education, support, and accountability. But with the functional medicine aspect that I bring to the table, it's really helping someone get to that root cause. It's going to go much deeper into their health. So if someone is coming to me with some major GI issues, we're going to figure out what's going on there. Like, is it food related? Do you have leaky gut? So we're going to make some changes at that functional level versus just the health coaching. But it's still incorporating health coaching. You're still working with me one-on-one. We have that, nice 90-minute deep dive with me, and then, sessions as needed to keep working at, addressing those root causes so that you start to love life again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that have gone to school online and they've gotten a health coach certification, or you hear it every time. And some people associate health coaching with someone who works at the gym that helps you with exercise.
Yeah.
So I wanted to differentiate because there's a lot of that title out there, and there are health coaches that start you at the beginning, like you said, like I just need to have accountability for changing things, and where do I start? Versus I have a specific issue, and you go into both. So you do both, but the
Yes.
functional medicine is really getting in there and doing a deeper dive instead of just starting at the beginning.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Cool. So, I mean, tell me about the training that's involved in that, because I know Institute for Integrative Nutrition is part of your training, and a lot of people start there with health coaching, but then they go further. So tell me about what your training looked like.
Yeah, so I did start at IIN, and I'm pretty sure, I know with my school alone, but I'm pretty sure with most of the other ones, they probably do want you to have at least health coaching experience or knowledge, or some type of medical knowledge, practitioner or something like that, before you can further into functional medicine. But the school that I went to, I've been in it for 2 years, and it's a very in detail, it's very in-depth education. It's going to go through everything about the interconnectedness of the body and connecting those pieces together and finding root causes. So we're going to talk a lot about diseases. We're going to talk a lot about nutrition. We're going to talk about supplements if needed, because supplements sometimes are needed, lab work, and puzzle piecing. So I actually have cases that I do my own puzzle piecing on. And then the teacher will go over it when everyone is done, just to kind of, help guide you through it to see how, you looked at that case and like how you put those pieces together. But it also includes lots of open coaching calls. The coaching calls are really, really great because that's a live case. Like you're actually doing a case on your own and live in front of you. So it's really great. But yeah, so it's a very thorough, very detailed, teaches you everything, like I said, you need to know about the body and the interconnectedness. And it does touch over like your thyroid and your hormones and your GI issues. I mean, it covers everything. It's a really great, rich program. Absolutely love it.
And you're working with doctors too. So you don't diagnose, you don't treat, but you're working hand in hand with doctors who can work with you. They can order blood work, or Tanya, our nutritional therapist, can order blood work, and you work with that. And you help people, because the doctor only has 15 minutes to spend with people usually.
Exactly.
And so you kind of go in deeper with everybody with your training.
Yes,
correct?
Exactly. Correct.
So tell me about what type of conditions can be helped and what things that you normally see that you're working with clients.
So the most common, honestly, is thyroid and gut. I work with ladies who have those two biggest chief complaints, along with, low energy, which is associated with the thyroid and of course some other things. But as far as a functional medicine health coach, I can pretty much, work with any person. But I will say that, the gut is pretty much like the big piece. I mean, it really, everything does start here. It is in the center of our body. Most of our immune system is here. Thyroid function happens here. Hormones are there. So a lot of times when people come to me, they're dealing with some GI issues that need to be addressed. And so, those are some of the situations that I deal with.
When I was on my health journey, I always felt that some of my GI issues were just so common. They had been there for such a long time. I didn't actually recognize that they were a problem.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if people are having like symptoms like issues with energy, or issues with hormones, or, heavy menstrual cycles, or pain or fatigue. All those things kind of can point to, hormone imbalances or thyroid, or all these things you would put together. Headaches. I feel like there's so many symptoms that people go, well, this is louder than the GI. I didn't really have issues with GI. So I'm curious if there's any other symptoms that maybe come up that are related to gut that might be a red flag for people to go, maybe I do have gut issues. Maybe I do need to see April and see that this could be related to that. So headache, pain.
Yeah, headaches. I mean, there's so many to cover. I mean, honestly, this is something that because I experienced this when it came to the GI. And a lot of people, including myself, thought that it was normal to have bowel movements like maybe once or twice a week. And I do really want to point that out, that it is not, because I thought that was normal. And because I have clients that come to me and tell me, and then they look at me like, are you for real? Like, so they never thought they had GI issues. But they do, because normally you go at least once to 3 times a day. And so that's a really important piece for people to understand, that you may not have like, all these gut issues that you think are normal. But if that is something that you are having on a recurring basis, then yes, you are having some GI issues.
Yeah. Or if you're going too often.
Yeah. And that's another one too. Exactly.
So I want to tell you something real quick. I went to my primary care physician years ago and asked that question. And as I've kind of was in this realm, I was like, but you should be going every day. And I knew that. And I thought, I wonder what he's going to say. And he told me, well, some people, their normal is once every day. Sometimes it's once every 3 days. Sometimes it's once every other week.
What?
And I thought, what? That cannot be healthy. And I said, well, where did you get those numbers? He's like, well, it's based on the total American, group. We basically, the whole population, we take on how often they go. And I'm going, but the general population of Americans, we're not healthy in our guts. So they're taking this. I thought it was really, really interesting, but that was normal according to my primary care physician. Amazing doctor all around. He's taught me a lot, but I was like, wow. So that's like that to me points out a big difference in illness, disease care versus this preventative functional medicine. Like it was a different train of thought there.
Yes.
I thought I just wanted to share that.
No, that's great to share that, because I mean, I've heard the same thing too from my clients who, like, I would bring that up and they would be like, I don't have GI issues. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So what exactly happens when you're in a private session with you for a functional nutrition session? I know you do free consultations on the phone to make sure that you're a good fit. Tell me what that might look like and what kind of questions I could ask. And then if we move into a session with you, what would we do?
So the 15 minutes is really, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what is going on in your life and with your health. Like, what are your concerns? What maybe possibly you have tried that hasn't worked? And then from there, I can tell you if, I'll probably be able to tell for a good fit. But then I can definitely tell you more about how I can help you, where I would probably most likely start. And so if you'd be interested in that, I do actual health history consultation, which is a 90-minute deep dive with me. So there's a very extensive intake form. It's literally covering everything, not just what we eat, but also, the other aspects of health, because it's more than just what we eat, our mind, our body, and our spirit, all of it's all covered. So like I said, there's a very extensive intake form, symptom questionnaire as well, lab work if you can provide it as well. And you send that to me. And what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll start putting pieces together and start connecting them. And, when you sit down with me for that 90-minute, we're going to go through everything you sent me. And of course, I'm going to most likely put more things on that. I call it a map, on my map, to connect the pieces together. And, identifying the most possible root causes. Now, they're not going to be, the root causes, because when you work with me one-on-one, other things are going to show up. If you make changes to something else may show up, and we'll have to address that issue. So we do that 90-minute and we start identifying those root causes, and then we just put a plan together. It's always at the client's pace too. It's not my pace. So what is the client comfortable doing first? Is it going gluten-free? Great, let's start there. If that's all that person can handle at that time, then that's fine. If they want to if they're more gung-ho and they want to, do a lot more than that, then that's fine. But I want to really stress out that I don't set the pace. It's always the client. I'm here as your guide. I'm here to educate, to support you, hold you accountable. Mostly I want you to be inspired as you make those changes and you start to feel better. That really just brings you, empowered. So that's how it is working with me.
It's really, really nice when you've actually walked this path, you've lost weight or you've gained energy from doing this, because I think some of the fears when I was joining in with working with a health coach or connecting was, I don't want them to judge me for the way I'm eating, because I was a sugarholic and I'm like, yeah, I ate 2 boxes of fruit roll-ups like in one sitting. Like there's like a lot of shame related to food and weight, or, whether you're too thin or too heavy, or you have an issue with food or eating, or, you just, even this ignorance, like, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should know. And I love that what you do is so non-judgmental, and meeting someone where they're at. They don't need to change anything that they don't want to. It's just educating them and trying to help them figure out that what they're ready for. And I think that's the most healing type of connection, because I think when we go to a mainstream doctor, we're going for them to tell us what to do. And we're so used to that dynamic. But when we're going to a health coach or a functional medicine nutritionist, they're going to really help you with what you're ready to be helped. It's more of a collaboration. It's more of a partnership in your health, instead of you need to do these things because this is what you need to do. And the doctor's like, told me I got to do this. I got to, work on my cholesterol. It's like it's a totally different paradigm.
Totally different. And, I think when people make the decision to make even whatever small change that they can do, whatever, it doesn't matter, but that they start to notice how better they're feeling. I mean, that's the best part. I mean, I remember on my own journey, I was like, wow. So just changing, my food from here to here, I was able to lose weight, and I felt so much better that I never went back to that way of eating ever again. And I could never imagine doing it. I felt very empowered that, I made those choices. I stuck to that. And, I felt 100 times better. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I love you so much, April. I'm so glad you're with us.
I'm so happy I'm here too.
Yeah. So if anyone wants us to meet with her today, call Emily at the office at 814-9136. She can do free consult with you today. And I have a question. Now mycotoxicity, so if you have issues with mold or anything in your house or your home, now when you're working with that, I just have a side question for you, April. Now, Tanya would do blood tests for that, and then you would work privately with the client to figure out what those tests are and do some lifestyle changes in food and supplementation to work with that?
I have actually not worked with somebody with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but what you did share does sound like pretty much what I would probably do. But I have never actually worked with somebody that had those specific conditions or issues.
Cool. And if we would find someone else we could refer out. And again, and that's one of the things about the best thing with a free consult is if you feel like you can chat a little bit and get to know that person, if it's going to work, and if not, we can refer you out to someone else. And again, you guys, that is the best thing about all the practitioners that I personally choose to hire here at Firefly, is really integrity and professionalism, and ethical professionalism in general is like really top on our when we're looking for a practitioner. Because if you go to someone and they pretend that they know and they don't really know, and there's a lot of stuff that comes up with anyone in a healthcare setting where you feel that you failed somebody, and if you don't know the answers, and I promise you, our practitioners, if they do not know, they will refer out to someone else. It's really important that if that happens to you anywhere else and you kind of get the sense that your practitioner isn't being honest with you, just seek counsel with that. The prices, Gina, of a session, please contact Emily again directly, and see if you want to set up a consultation with her. She actually absolutely has openings today. So yes. And I'm going to pull your door prize now.